Alrighty guys, we're back for Orzhov Clerics, and this is a Lost Caverns of Ixalan standard brew, and I'm Redcat. Let's go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. We got a whole bunch of value cards packed in. Let's start by going over the 3 mana ones. We got 3 Anointed Peacekeeper in here. 3 mana, 3/3, with Vigilance. When it ETBs, you look at the opponent's hand, then choose any card name. Spells your opponent's cast with the chosen name cost 2 more to cast, and then activated abilities of sources with the chosen name cost 2 more to activate unless they're mana abilities. Pretty good card, man. Also have Sanguine Evangelist, 3 mana 2/1 with Battle Cry, so when it attacks each other attacking creature with gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Now when this ETBs or dies, you create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. Pretty good, dude. I'll tell you what. A lot of value. We also have Preacher the Schism. We're seeing a huge uptick in the amount of Preacher Schism being played, and I can definitely see why. 3 mana, 2/4 with Death Touch. When it attacks the player with the most life or tied for the most life, you create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with a lifelink. And then whenever it attacks while you have the most life or tied for the most life, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Now, that bottom ability especially is going to pair nicely with cards like Sheoldred, the Apocalypse. Have you guys heard of this one? Okay, so it's not a cleric, but it's so much value packed onto the card that it would have been a little silly not to include in here, especially since I also wanted a black mana creature that we could rip out of the deck with that Shadow-Rite Priest bottom ability. So it's a 2 mana 2/2. Other clerics you control get +1/+1. Of course, that's going to be terrific in here. But it also has, for 3 and double black, you can tap this, sacrifice another cleric, search your library for a black creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So ripping Sheoldred out of the deck for 5 mana isn't half bad, honestly. And then maybe you're sacrificing something like Sanguine Evangelist and getting a bat back anyway, so that could be pretty cool. Now, realistically, we don't have a sacrifice theme in here, but Elas il-Kor made the cut nonetheless, because we do have a bit of a life gain theme going on. So 2 mana 2/2 legendary creature. It has Death Touch, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. And whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Of course, it's mainly in here for that top ability for the life gain, same concept with that Lunarch Veteran. 1 mana 1/1, when another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Also has that Disturb ability where it can eventually come back as Luminous Phantom, which is pretty good. Now, that life gain theme, of course, Voice of the Blessed made the cut. For 2 white mana, it is a 2/2, and whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on Voice of the Blessed. As long as Voice of the Blessed has 4 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has flying and vigilance. As long as Voice of the Blessed has 10 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has indestructible, which we have seen opponents pull off the indestructible before. I'm not sure if I've ever been able to pull off the indestructible, but I know we have seen the opponents do it, so. Now, the double white mana is probably pretty greedy, but the mana base is actually pretty stacked, of course, because we have Secluded Courtyard, we call clerics, and then we have Cavern of Souls, of course, we call clerics too there. The only time you don't call clerics is if you're already set up with everything else you need on the board, and then, like, for some reason you need to hit that double black on Sheoldred or something, right? Other than that, Cavern of Souls and Secluded Courtyard can't really cast our removal spells, and my removal spells of choice this time around are Soul Partition, 3 of them. This could totally be whatever removal spell you want. However, if you go for the Throat or something, you may need to rearrange the mana base just a little bit. The other removal spell of choice is actually Virtue of Persistence. I don't know how often we're actually going to be casting it for the 7 mana enchantment side, but I wanted a removal spell that, of course, gained us some life too. So we have that Scorn Adventure side. It is sorcery speed. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. You gain 2 life. What we found out with this card, of course, is -3/-3 hits a heck of a lot of cards, man. And then that gain 2 life, of course, pairs beautifully with that Voice of the Blessed. Okay, 1 card on the top end, saving the best for last, Roaming Throne. This is a 4 mana, 4/4, Ward 2, and that Ward 2 really goes a long way. The ETBs, you choose a creature type. You're mostly going to be choosing clerics, of course. I suppose there may be like a game every now and then where you call like Phyrexian. That way you can double down on the Sheoldred abilities, right? But most of the time you're going to be calling clerics. The Roaming Throne is the chosen type in addition to its other types. If a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. So cards like Peacekeeper's ability, right? Sanguine Evangelist, Preacher, Elas il-Kor. I believe the Voice of the Blessed would get double counters, right? Whenever you gain life, that should be a triggered ability. I don't think I've been able to test that yet, actually. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah, but any triggered ability, which is like everything in the deck pretty much, sounds pretty good, man. I think all 4 of them are going to be excellent. So in the mana base, I'm also opting for a couple Scoured Barrens, mainly for the life gain. That'll be fine and dandy. Same thing with the Restless Fortress. Do we just want to go up to like 3 Restless Fortresses? I don't really know, because there's going to be some games where that's really expensive to power up, and other games where you just like drop a Barrens and then get that extra counter so you can actually swing with Voice of the Blast, which could be actually pretty aggressive as far as slow lands go, right? Speaking of slow lands, opting for the fast land then with Caves of Koilos? Koilos. I don't know if I've ever actually read the name of this card, but yeah, the Orzhov Painland. Also Abandoned Mire, couple Seat of the Empires just for more interaction. I find that in certain builds, a couple Seat of the Empires goes a long way, a lot more than just one Seat of the Empire, right? Some honorable mentions over here. Phyrexian Missionary could have been a cool one for the list, and it could be a great budget trade out if you don't have some of the other rares or something. Same thing with Annex Sentry. There's a lot of rares packed into that 3 mana spot, man, like a lot. So Annex Sentry could be a cool cleric to trade out. And same thing with Inspiring Overseer. This is just a common, and it's an Angel Cleric, and it fits the life gain theme. So, yep, honorable mentions for a reason, man, for sure. Okay, guys, is that everything? Hopefully. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Okay, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the list? A little bit, man. I'm afraid to expect anything from the list, but I actually think it's going to be pretty good. But we'll see, we'll see. Oh, like this. I think this is a great hand. We have everything we need. And we go first. All right, let's do this. And we don't have the 4th mana for Throne yet, but like that's not for a few turns. We have plenty of turns to draw the 4th, or just draw more that we could play throughout the game too, so. Yeah, overall, I guess this deck was relatively easy to go over, even though I don't get to play with these cards too often. I don't know the last time I played Clerics. It's been a long while. Go ahead and pause the recording here until the opponent shows up. Okay, the opponent has arrived. Let's go ahead and get that Plains down. Let's not give him too much information turn 1, right? And then we'll get ready for that Cavern of Souls. Oh, the opponent may or may not have arrived. They may have exited the building again, guys. I will be continuously pausing until they show up. The opponent did not show up. I'm not sure what happened there, but GG, buddy. I get asked often why I keep these in. Of course, it showcases a hand, which we don't get too many hand showcases in. So always keep an eye at the bottom of the video. We have chapters in the description. We also have timestamps. I really wanted to play out this hand, man. Well. I'll also take the victory, because every now and then victories are very hard to come by. A great hand. You know what? No matter what the opponent was actually playing, I think we could have gotten that victory regardless. Well, we'll see if we can get right into that second game. Heck yeah, we do. Oh my. Opponent, what'd you bring into the table, buddy? Bring something to the table. That's all I request. Okay. Yeah, this might even be better than that first hand that we just showcased. Yeah, in the chapter and whatnot, I always try to make sure I put in there like early concede or... What the crap, bro? What is happening? No, I really want to play out these hands, dude. Oh my goodness. But for real, as far as like these first 2 games go, it really sucks we couldn't play these out. I feel like these hands were terrific, right? Oh, man. All right. Well, let's get into the next one, I suppose. That's really funny, dude. Well, yeah. Third opponent? 3rd time's the charm, I suppose? Okay. Now I'm just concerned. What if we play the whole time today, the whole recording, and each opponent is just out of here? All right, opponent goes first. Now the hand seems a little slow, but it realistically isn't. I'm getting a vibe from this hand. I guess it's because we don't have that third mana, right? A Virtue acts as some removal that we can't cast too, so that could be bad. I say we keep it to try it. Yeah. Especially since it actually looks like the opponent's here. Okay. All right. So we'll get Lunarch Veteran down first. Could be mono blue, consider. No? Maybe it was Fading Hope and they're just saving it for something better to hit. Secluded Courtyard. Okay, I don't mind it. We're going to need double black on Sheoldred at some point, but I still think we call Cleric for the first Courtyard, right? Yeah, we'll see if Shadow-Rite Priest #1 hits the board. There's realistically no reason to hold this back. It's going to be an Essence Scatter. That is a worthwhile Essence Scatter, let me tell you what. Go ahead and swing for one with the Veteran. Then we could call Phyrexian on the second Courtyard to get set up to make sure we'll have double black if we see like a black source off the top for the Sheoldred. There we go. Scoured Barrens, actually. So I'm actually going to get set up with the Barrens over the Courtyard and then go the second Shadow-Rite Priest. How do you guys feel about that? Since that's a tapped land, we get it down, get it set up. Because we could have went Courtyard and tried the Preacher of the Schism, which also would have been really good if it wasn't a counter, which it wasn't, so... But this is still pretty good, too. It's a good swing. That's also the black source we needed for the removal on Virtue, which doesn't hit too much in mono blue, unfortunately. Witness Protection. Nice. Opponent, I hope you have an extra one, because I really want to see you put Sheoldred into Witness Protection. Okay, there we go. Caves. All right, we're seeing the mana we need to see. So we could still call Cleric on this if we want, but I don't really want to take pain damage here. I think we start with the swing before anything else. See what the opponent ends up doing. They probably just take the 2. Yeah, they want to save. Which one would we mind? Well, I guess we try the Sheoldred. There's a chance that it's not. Oh, I played the pain land anyways, guys. Wow. Well, that's fine. I think we have enough life for now. Hopefully we don't lose by 1 damage or something, you know what I mean? Yeah, we could have played this Phyrexian Fading Hope. Okay, nice. We do get the life gain back with the Veteran too. Which I guess then at that point we could still call Cleric on the Courtyard, but... Or for the second time we play Sheoldred, we can call Phyrexian. Gonna keep 3 open, 5 in hand. Second Preacher, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Again, do we expect a counterspell? Maybe we go Preacher instead? If we could do this, we'll call Phyrexian. Because we have the mana we need. Let's make sure we don't take pain from the Sheoldred. But we're going to play around and make disappear here, and we're going to go Preacher instead. And we're going to start with that swing too. See what happens. Now, some versions of Mono Blue run flash creatures too, so that could be bad. We have 2 open, so we are playing around make disappear. Creature #1. And then if this does eat like an Essence Scatter or something, we had Preacher #2 in hand as well. Kind of feels like Mono Blue isn't seeing too much of what they want to see. Thirst of Discovery, they go for the draw. Okay, that could be scary. Yeah, as soon as they get set up with their big creatures, their version is running Sleight of Hand. Nice. Yeah, so like their big flying bopper in the air doesn't get picked up by Virtue. And even if it did get picked up by Virtue, they'd probably make sure to have an extra island open for some protection. So as soon as they get a big card down, we might start being in trouble. Although Death Touch does get around it, so Preacher of the Schism is actually really good to have on this board. Eiganjo, yep, it lands. So if they block one of the 1/1s, maybe Virtue hits it. Oh, 2 Virtues, so if they counter one, the other one will hit it. That's really good, and I really doubt they trade here too. Could always start with Sheoldred, but it probably eats the counter since Eiganjo makes everything a little less to cast. Alright, full swing, dude. And they might just take the 4. That might be their best option. So we'll see what ends up happening here. A Plains. I don't mind more land, I suppose. They go for the Lunarch Veteran block. Alright, let's do our dandiest to go ahead and take this out. -3, -3. Slip out the back. And since the second virtue of persistence, this is sorcery speed, we can't do that on the stack. But they are tapped out now. So, 4th. Oh no, we don't have... No, the auto tapper, guys. We don't have Sheoldred for the turn now. Well, second Preacher of the Schism's pretty good too. The Death Touch is really good. Oh no, yeah, be careful. I tapped the Phyrexian Secluded Courtyard with the auto tapper there. So we didn't have double black open. This could easily kill us, man. That's a problem. The Slip Out the Back was the perfect protection spell for that turn. Okay, Terror comes down. Yeah, we could get a blocker in the air. Whatever we do. Okay. We could draw a couple on the Preacher first, right? One second, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. Because we might want to get the Cleric down as a chump blocker. They could easily just find like a Fading Hope. The big thing is I don't want to die next turn, which could very well happen. Especially if they just take the 5 here and then they have this and we might be unsuccessful in getting a chump blocker down, right? So we should keep 1 back just in case. Swing with the Preachers. Oh, but we're going to be losing 1. But it's not worth holding back, right? Maybe we start with Sheoldred to gain some life instead. Maybe that was the play. See, the Empire doesn't hit the Eiganjo now that it has the counter. Okay. This isn't great, but Cavern of Souls we can call Phyrexian. We're going to go ahead and take it. Down to 6. We'll call Phyrexian so that way Sheoldred can't get countered, right? Phyrexian. We'll go ahead and start with that then. That's really good that it can't be countered. Our Cavern of Souls would have been terrific earlier too, right? Or like right at the beginning of the game to get that first Shadow-Rite Priest down. They go for Consider. This Eiganjo is a problem, dude. So hopefully Lunarch Veteran is going to be able to block in the air. We'll see if it lands. We'll see. So if we would have waited, if we wouldn't have waited, we wouldn't have had the Cavern of Souls. So it's very possible that Sheoldred would have been countered. There's like a lot of little things there. Slip out the back. Why not, right? They get it up to lethal damage for us. Opponent's down to 4. Sleight of hand, looking for something to remove that Luminous Phantom. I just know it, man. I guess they could have slipped it out the back, actually. That would have done it. Fading Hope. Ah, man. Yeah, a lot of little things in this game. A lot of little back and forth. So it ended up being 2 over for the Eiganjo. Good game, opponent. That was an excellent one. So the best thing in that game was definitely the slip out the back, right? The first slip out the back to save them from the Virtue of Persistence, since we didn't have instant speed removal at that moment. That was pretty good. And then the slip out the back counter prevented us from keeping like Seat of the Empire or something open, which usually would be a beautiful card against Eiganjo. So yeah, that was a good one, man. a lot of little things in there. Like, that's one to go back and watch and see where I potentially could have done a little better. Of course, we never really know what's in the opponent's hand until after the fact, so it's particularly hard to play around mono blue sometimes. And I say sometimes because other times it's actually really easy to play around mono blue, depending on the build you're running. Sometimes it's just like, I slam everything on the board all the time, and if you counter it, I don't care. We're just going to keep on slamming stuff. So sometimes it's really easy to play around mono blue. Okay. Okay, we keep this. Oh, and that turn where I auto tapped too, that could have been the turn that lost us the game. Very possible. Okay, I'll gladly take the one to get the turn 1 veteran down. We have a lot of 2 drops that we wouldn't mind seeing off the top to curve into, and if we see another like veteran or something, then we can get Barrens down, play the second veteran off the caves. Up the beanstalk. Okay, what is this? They have 130 cards in the deck, guys. What on earth? That's really funny. Go for the swing. Is it just like an up the beanstalk build and they really don't want to deck themselves out? It might be. Beanstalk worm. It's beanstalk theme, guys. This is sick. All right, let's go ahead, Secluded Courtyard, and we will call Cleric this time. Just double checking my hand there for a second. I guess Sanguine Evangelist over Preacher for now, right? Just get more value on the board. The opponent only has Field of Ruin. I'm doing this before combat anyways. Creature of the Schism's pretty good. We don't really need more land right now. But hopefully we don't draw any land next turn. No green source for the frill back. Shadow-Rite Priest, that's pretty good. So with the 3/3, probably trade right into the Evangelist. Keep Soul Partition open for their turn, right? Other attacking creatures get the buff too. If they trade Veteran, we'll be able to recast that from the grave this turn as well. It's going to be the Evangelist. We get another bat. Comes down to 13. And now we keep Soul Partition open. A pretty solid board state. You can really see how much value Evangelist gives us there. Okay, another frillback. Do I take this blocker out of the equation? I suppose. I guess so. Soul Partition is very much like a tempo card, and more land. Ew. Well, we could sacrifice the Veteran, grab a Sheoldred. I just feel like we don't do that yet. I feel like we just full swing and hope they don't wipe the board next turn. But it kind of looks like they don't have the mana to wipe the board. I have no idea what we're up against, man. 130 cards in the opponent's deck. GG opponent. No clue what was going on there at all. Like double frillbacks up the beanstalk. We had... Hold on. We had beanstalk worm too. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was like a fun theme deck or something. Either way, our clerics totally did a thing there too. We were definitely seeing a little bit too much mana too, though, so that's noteworthy. So far, so good. It's too bad those first 2 games, it's too bad we weren't actually able to play those out, because I just feel like those hands were really good too. But all the hands, realistically, have totally been fine. Okay, see, 2 mana, but 2 of our cards requires 4. We go first. Okay, we keep this, right? I think so. I think this is fine. We see we don't have the white source for the Soul Partition, though. That's tough, man. I think we'll see the mana. I think we'll give it a shot. Just to see how it pans out, too, though. Okay, Anointed Peacekeeper. Let's call Cleric. Cleric, where's Cleric? Cleric's at the top. Okay, Shadow-Rite Priest, number 1 comes down, and number 2 is pretty good. Now, for the next few turns, we really just want to see mana, though. And mana that helps us cast everything in hand. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, guys. Naturalist, this could be really bad. Especially for missing mana. So we may have learned that this was, in fact, a mulligan hand. Like Anointed Peacekeeper that turn would have been pretty good against Selesnya enchantments, right? Soul Partition could still be pretty good. Yeah, with like, if we hit the mana, calling Calyx or something. Okay, they're going all in on that Naturalist. Get that good swing in. Go up to 23, we're going down to 14. I say we do not take that chump. Oh no, roaming throne, guys. Oh no. Well, that's that, huh? We literally can't play anything in hand. We can keep blockers back, but I'll tell you what, let's just see. We're playing a little game with the opponent. Can they actually buff their board state to 14 damage? I think they can, so let's see it. That's 9 already. They just need 5 more. So like Audacity, right? That would be an extra 3. Bearded Companion. That's 1 counter. That's 10 total. They need 4 more, guys. I think that would be very easy for them to get, especially with 3 open mana, Naturalist making everything cheaper. Ossification. That's not lethal yet. 11 damage. They need 3 more. So like I said, Audacity would do it. That would push them over the edge. Borrowed Time. That's not it. It's not lethal. We're alive. That's really funny. Let's see if we see that mana off the top then. They copy Companion because there's nothing to actually pick up. Oh, they could go Reign of Truth. So yeah, next turn they get that buff again. That's true. That's true. Another Soul Partition. Wow, guys. All right. I guess that goes to show. If it's not in your opening hand, you may never see it. So really, really bad draws this game. Hey, you know what? Good game, opponent. They played a great game of Magic. Yeah. So mana off the top, would we have had a chance against that lineup of enchantments? Selesnya enchantments is really good, man. So the first thing was taxing the Calyx with the Peacekeeper if we got that line. And if we continued to see a line, I do think Soul Partition would be pretty good against Selesnya enchantments, right? Since they're working so hard to buff those little creatures, and we're just like, we have that really cheap removal. Also, Soul Partition is like any permanent too. That works well with their enchantment removal. Yeah. Yeah, I think there would have been a chance had we seen the lineup. So now we learned if we see a hand like that, it is likely a mulligan. Look, Voice of the Blessed might get its time to shine. Good hand. We need 1 more black source for the Sheoldred. What I'm surprised about right now is how greedy the mana base feels in some of these. It hasn't necessarily been holding us up. I'm going to save the Cavern of Souls back. We may have to call Phyrexian. Right? But that's kind of what I mean there. Like, it actually feels pretty greedy, and I'm surprised by that. Like, is the Sheoldred the problem? Maybe. Virtue. Nice. Okay. Well, I'm going to take the turn for Peacekeeper, I would say. Because here's our chance. Here's our chance to stop that Calyx from coming down. Yikes, dude. Okay. Ossification. This is bad news. Calyx hopefully won't get the buff above the Virtue, and we're going to call ossification here. Oh, I gotta like type out the whole thing. All right, ossification. Done. There we go. Get that swing. Cheese the 2 through. So Audacity is what they go for instead of the Calyx. That's actually pretty rough. Like, because we definitely want to hit that Calyx with the Virtue, but... Ooh, that's a big companion. Okay, we're going to take the 6. I do think we have enough life gain packed in general. il-Kor should be pretty good. Now, the question is, do we actually call Cleric, skip the Sheoldred, or call Phyrexian and get Sheoldred down? With Ossification coming down for 4 mana next turn, it's probably Cleric. Double down on some things here, right? We go... Yeah, let's call Cleric. And we'll see how much we can actually get done here. That comes down. That gets the life gain rolling. This also buffs all of our Clerics, too. The great swing for 8. Yeah, Ossification for 4. Probably... What do they want to hit here? Maybe Peacekeeper? I'm not sure. But that's a lot of mana to remove one thing. There's going to be Skrelv. Maybe Calyx comes down then. It is going to be the Calyx, which means Virtue cleans that up very nicely. Like, they're going to go for that swing, too. We're just going to take that 7 gladly. Right? I think so. Yeah, no blocks. We have lethal on this board. Skrelv can't block. Oh, but they do get the copy. So, Companion can block. Okay. Yep. Yeah, Spirited Companion has the aura on it, so... A Scoured Barrens is actually pretty good. That buffs the Voice of the Blast. But more importantly, this removes the Calyx, which is, yeah, very, very important. Down to 7. And then we get that full swing, dude. Oh, they got the chump. Wait a minute. 2, 3. That's only 9. That's only 9, guys. Are we going to die next turn? No, hopefully not. Hopefully not. The chump with the copied companion is actually really rough. Do they trade here? No, they can't. That'll be 10 going through. They can't. They have to chump. Okay, yeah, I'm saving the il-Kor back because Ossification picks up one of these, then we have another chump blocker. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough damage coming through. So we got to be very cautious here. Oh, crap. Skrelv can call... Yeah, it can call white to get around the il-Kor and the Peacekeeper. But we're still at 9, so they would need to buff the companion pretty good. That's pretty good. No, guys. What on earth? Oh, they don't call it. Oh, we have the block. We have the block, right? Should I double block just in case? Probably not. Wait a minute. If we block here and we take 7, we won't have the life gain to get Voice of the Blessed into the air. So we actually block here, take less damage. And then when we play our creature, we'll gain life off of il-Kor, get Voice of the Blessed into the air, and then finish this game off so they can't chump on the ground anymore. Right? I think that's how to do it. That is, it's unfortunately too late for the Skrelv. We lucked out, guys. We really did. Yeah, we got very lucky that the opponent didn't do Skrelv before combat. GG, buddy. GG. But honestly, though, it's wild to me that we needed that luck to win. Like, Selesnya Enchantments is just doing so much. Like, what on earth, man? Like, the second Michiko's Reign of Truth, like that, I guess that was actually really lucky for the opponent too. But then, yeah, we lucked out because they didn't activate Skrelv first, so. Total win rate so far, 66%, but not realistically because like the first two opponents conceded for some reason, or the first one didn't even show up to the game. So yeah, the win rate isn't, that's not the true win rate, but overall, we're not doing too bad overall. And the mana base has been feeling relatively greedy, and it very well might be that Sheoldred's fault. It feels a lot like we're constantly thinking, okay, well, I want to play my clerics, but I also want to get my Sheoldred down. We only have 2 Sheoldred in the build, so maybe like, I don't know, maybe it's just these games and how they're actually panning out. Okay. Yes. Right? This is completely acceptable. We definitely need to see a 3rd mana when it comes time, but at least like we actually have a Soul Partition when we need it. I'm going to keep this. We're going to keep Seed of the Empire as utility here and call Cleric on the Caverns. Ooh, buddy. Lunarch Veteran might be putting in some extra work this game. Cleric. Voice of the Blast. All that is a really good setup against mono red. We just... Ooh. Picnic Ruiner. Yeah, we'll take the 1. Okay, come on. We're definitely going to need to see that 3rd very soon. Voice of the Blast. It does not get above a Lightning Strike, unfortunately. So hopefully we get a little lucky here and the opponent doesn't have a Lightning Strike in hand. Because we want to get that above that range. I mean, the first thing that we're going to need is actually that 3rd mana. Once we get the 3rd, if we're able to keep this board state, I think we can start pulling ahead quite nicely. So 2 mountains. This very well might be a Gruul list, and they're missing green right now, right? Because they have the Stolen Goodies adventure side on the Picnic Ruiner. Blaze and Crescendo. Nice. Okay. Attacks while you control a creature with power 4 or more. It might be mono red, just like a really fun version of it, because they give this double strike there. That's a ton of damage. That's 9 damage. And the double strike on the Ruiner gets around the voice. Only 1 mountain? Guys, I'm keeping this set up, and we are really, really banking on seeing that 3rd mana. Let's see it. Oh, Elas il-Kor, that's good too, I guess. Right? That's pretty good. It buffs the Voice of the Blast. When do we start swinging? When do we feel... I mean, I guess we should never feel safe against a deck that has that much explosive damage potential, right? But I like risking it. Let's do this. Let's do this. Like, a big thing too is I don't want to block with the Voice of the Blast. Like, I want that to be the card that we fall back on and rely on as we get above the burn range. Double strike trample. Oh, buddy. Oh, that's so cool. Oh my goodness, dude. Did we just die? No, we are forced to block everything, though. We make sure Swift Spear dies. We might die. This could be a... Yeah, they could drop a Monstrous Rage. Do we full block then? Take 10. No, we don't. If it's Monstrous Rage or a Play with Fire, we die either way. Look at that Picnic Ruiner really doing a thing, dude. Down to 1. Let's see it. Nothing at instant speed from the opponent. A 3 mana card. Okay, we better just keep the Soul Partition back. Crap, guys, crap. Sometimes the mana is just not lining up. Swing? No, we should hold it all back this time, and we have the Soul Partition available. We gotta hold it all back because they could easily have more haste creatures. Stolen Vitality, dude. Given that trample is huge onto double strike. Phoenix Chick. Crap, dude. Let's see what they end up doing with these last 2 mountains. Oh, they go for the swing. So what I'll end up doing is we will block here. I suppose we got a double block, right? Just in case. And then Soul Partition the Phoenix chick. Like, yeah, they get to take out the veteran this way, but then we'll be able to cast it in the air to go ahead and block the Phoenix chick when it comes time, too. Gonna be Lightning Strike. They had that available the whole time. Nah, they might have drawn into it, too. GG opponent, really sick looking mono red from them. That double strike on the Ruiner was actually really wild. And then, like, yeah, the Stolen Vitality. That was something else, man. Really cool. Really nice. How far are we, guys? We're 40 minutes in. What do you guys think? One more? Let's do it. Let's push it. So is the deck doing the thing I wanted it to be doing? No, it doesn't really feel like it, honestly. The mana, how much mana do I have in here? In the final thoughts, we'll have to double check. How much mana do I actually have? It should be 24, I would say. For this style of build, that definitely feels like I would put 24 in here, but... And then see, sometimes it lines up really nicely. It could just very well be Magic the Gathering, doing the magic thing. So we are going to go ahead and call Cleric on the Courtyard, get the Veteran down, and get ready for the Voice of the Blessed. Yeah, we don't want to start with like Caves or something, take damage, and then see an untapped source off the top. Well, while we can, I'm going to... Well... I'm actually going to set up with the Elas il-Kor. We might have a great opportunity to set up a board state here. Against control, maybe. And I do think we can be fast enough for control decks, so... Going to be founding the third path, huh? So maybe just some removal. Bot removal. Chart a course, actually. Okay. That means they plan on attacking with this deck. Here's our third. But I'm going to set up with Scoured Barrens instead. So first we want Voice of the Blessed down. And then Scoured Barrens. So we gain 2 here. Bunch of counters. And then we gain another one from the Barrens. Going for 3. That's a wild Voice of the Blessed. Already 3 counters on it. And then Roaming Throne could come down next turn, potentially. Depending on what we draw and what the opponent does here. The big thing, of course, is we don't want to run into a board wipe on turn 4. Like a turn 4 to populate would be horrible. Oh, okay. We could be in trouble here in no time. So one with the Multiverse, Abuela's Awakening, a Tali. So based on the chart of course then, I guess it's a Reanimator build, right? They're discarding there. Founding the third path is helping them mill. They're going to be able to exile any instant and sorcery card from the graveyard, copy it, and then cast the copy. So next turn, they will be able to go ahead and cast the Abuela's Awakening for the one with the Multiverse. Guys, what a wild setup for the opponent. Holy cow. I suppose we're in big trouble. No board wipe in the grave. It's definitely going to be the Awakening. Awakening with bring back one with the Multiverse as a creature, right? Okay. They have 4 cards in hand that we don't know about. Hopefully it's not going to be that to populate that I fear. I think they're just going to recast Abuelo. Well, then they get a free card too, though, so. Okay, call Cleric. Yeah, look at all that happening twice. And then that happens twice. That's sick, dude. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. Popping off with that Voice of the Blessed, dude. What a turn. A indestructible. It doesn't get around Sunfall, though, so if they have a free Sunfall... Yeah, so they could go Abuelo, cast it. GG opponent, they must have missed the 4th mana, maybe? Dude, look at the back and forth up here. Look at the back and forth games. a wild time. So the games that we actually got to play, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total games that we actually got to play out. And then the first two, so 8 games today, but the first 2 opponents, of course, left early. So yeah, founding the third path. If they did miss their fourth, then the awakening wasn't coming back. But if they hit their fourth awakening for 4, bring back one with the multiverse as a 1/1, then played like a free Sunfall from their hand, they could have stayed in that a little bit longer. The setup from the opponent there, I mean, like, that was super scary because they had a whole bunch of goodies packed into the grave and whatnot. Good stuff, man. Really good stuff. Let's go ahead and go over the deck one more time. Okay, here's the deck list again, guys. Right. I liked it. Wait, first of all, 24. Okay, yeah. So some games felt like 21 easily, or 20, 19. Some of those games we really weren't seeing the mana we needed to see. Sheoldred and the Virtue and the Soul Partition. For some reason, having these cards that weren't clerics in here felt pretty greedy, and I'm actually surprised by it. Like, I know all 4 courtyards and all 4 caverns. Like, I know that would hold us up every now and then. It just felt like it held us up a lot more than I would have ever anticipated. For this, like, everything else in the deck can be cast with those, you know what I mean? That's a lot of cards. That's a chunk of cards. But only 8 cards can't be cast with these, and then we have Terrific Dual Land in here. Other than that, the mana felt pretty good. The Double Seat of the Empire didn't hold us up. There's a good reason why I have 2 of these in here. It usually doesn't hold you up at all. And then just having an extra piece of removal, like against that mono blue, for example. If they didn't have that slip out the back, then Seat of the Empire would have been the perfect removal for the Haughty Djinn. Finally getting Roaming Thrones down in that last game, really just showcasing the explosive power of the build too. We got pretty lucky getting double Elas il-Kor effects as well as the double Lunarch Veteran effects on the board with the voice. Like, that setup was beautiful, but that line of play is very possible with this build. The buff on the Shadow-Rite Priest was great, wasn't it? Sanguine Evangelist Battlecry was really good in that one game too. What would I do? What would I add or take out? Maybe just trying to fix up the mana base a little bit. I know one thing, I wouldn't drop the Cavern of Souls. We definitely do see enough mono blue to go ahead and say every time our creatures aren't getting countered is just super valuable, man. So if anything, if we're trying to make it less greedy, I would drop a couple Secluded Courtyard. And when you do that, it's going to have to be another dual land for sure. Because, like, we have double white on the Voice of the Blessed, which, again, like I said, maybe I shouldn't be surprised that it feels greedy, but we also had no issues actually casting out the Voice of the Blessed either for the double white. On time, too, so, yeah, if anything, if I trade around the mana base, I would potentially drop a couple courtyards and go up a couple other dual lands, and maybe it would just be a couple more Scoured Barrens. It's tapped land, so it's going to slow you down every now and then, but we really got to see how that life gain on the Barrens just pairs beautifully with that Voice of the Blessed anyways, so yeah, pretty cool stuff, man. Also, did we like Soul Partition today? I think so. So exile target non-land permanents, pretty wild when we are seeing a lot of enchantments and stuff that we really want to hit too. It's very much a tempo card, which I do think that the deck... I don't think the deck has to play the long game. I think it can get to that early mid game and have the opponent sweating enough to where Soul Partition is just like enough of a tax, you know what I mean, on the card that if they spend all their mana to play the card that we got rid of with Soul Partition, then they're probably sweating pretty bad. So I think the Soul Partition does make sense in here. But again, your removal of choice is totally fine. And if you end up going like Go for the Throat instead, then that's going to be another reason to rearrange the mana base a little bit, because then you're going to be leaning a little bit more into the swamps as well. Just a little bit, though. All right, guys. Hey, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. Make sure you check out that description for the Discord link, as well as the Patreon link if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Okay, guys, I will see you in the next video.